Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Criminals in Trinidad and Tobago now face stricter bail conditions. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, August 2. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Trinidad and Tobago's Parliament has unanimously approved the controversial Bail Amendment Bill 2019. The bill was requested by the police at the height of the increase in crime to deal with criminals. The 7-clause legislation prevents bail for 120 days for people who are charged or convicted of serious crimes ranging from rape to gang issues. Now, offenders will have to prove that exceptional circumstances exist for them to seek bail. We get more in this TV6 News report.
The passing of the bill will now mean that bail can be denied for 120 days if someone has a previous conviction for a serious offense and is then charged again for another offense. Bail will now be restricted if someone is charged for a serious offense, is out on bail and gets charged for the same category of offense. Offenses where bail can now be denied and carry a penalty of 10 years imprisonment under the various acts are Offenses Against the Person Act, Sexual Offences Act, Anti-Terrorism Act, Dangerous Drugs Act, Kidnapping Act, Sexual Offences Act, Sexual Offences Against a Child Act, and Trafficking in Persons and Firearms Act. Previously, persons arrested for a serious crime could plead not guilty and would be entitled to bail and be back on the streets. The burden of proof has now been shifted to the offender, who will now have to prove exceptional circumstances why he or she should be granted bail. The Commissioner of Police in previous statements to the press showed his support for the bill, saying that he believes that someone who has been arrested for possession of an illegal firearm should not be granted bail. Speaking with TV6, the Commissioner said that as soon as the bill becomes law, he will be acting immediately to ensure persons found in possession of illegal firearms are behind bars. Attorney General Faris Alwari, speaking after the passing of the bill, said he is seeking to have the bill made law as soon as possible. This will mean having the President assent to the bill and then proclaiming it law. The bill has a sunset clause of 3 years.
That report from TV6's Nicholas Lutchman Singh. Jamaican authorities say an international drug ring is behind one of the country's largest drug busts to date. Now, lawmen seized 2,600 pounds of cocaine off the coast of the parish of St. Thomas on Tuesday. And the National Security Minister says the perpetrators are also also involved in the importation of the illegal guns. We get more in this TVJ News report.
In closing his sectorial debate on Wednesday, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang linked the bust to the illegal flow of guns into the country. He said 200 illegal guns are imported to Jamaica monthly.
Say when we get 100, we're not going anywhere. That's how they're coming in. And who we need to catch is not the man who them used to shoot people, it's the man who's organizing this. Now what this sends us is not just that commend the improved capacity of the JDF or Coast Guard, but it tells us that operating around Jamaica now is people who have the capacity to deal with 3,000 pounds of coke. That is a serious business enterprise. and requires the attention of the whole country and the support of the entire country.
An international drug network is said to be behind the cocaine, which originated from South America. As he addressed the parliament, the security minister also pointed to the 5 fishermen who were detained by the U.S. Coast Guard in 2017 and allegedly held under inhumane conditions for more than a month. Dr. Chang said the men were engaged in illegal activities.
Intelligence in this country know that drugs was on that boat. Not a part of it, drugs was on the boat. We know the sender from Jamaica. The men who were on the boat were just foot soldiers. And therefore, getting a plea bargain would be a normal thing for them. Nobody wanted to lock up those people for 30 years. It is a man who we have been able to catch him, sure, but we know it was being done. And that there was 600 pounds of ganja on the boat. And Go Fast boat is not a fishing boat. So when we are debating these issues, let us debate them frankly and honestly.
Dr. Chang stressed that Robert Montague, who was National Security Minister in 2017, did not bow to pressure from the U.S. government to detain the men. He reiterated that the claim of inhumane treatment for which the U.S. Coast Guard is being sued by the fishermen must be investigated thoroughly.
The condition in which they are detained, there was a hurricane there and all that, we have to get explanation because they must be treated well. No apologies for that. But we must understand the drugs for guns trade and the food for drugs trade is the greatest clear and present danger to the society today and must be dealt with without any equivocation at all.
A joint delegation of overseas organizations is due in Dominica next week to discuss the electoral reform process. The 3 main political parties have been at odds over electoral reform ahead of the next poll. Elections are constitutionally due by March next year, but they are expected to be held this year. In July, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit invited representatives from the CARICOM, the Commonwealth, and the Organization of American States to discuss the way forward. Now, speaking during on the debate on the $1.2 billion budget, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Francine Barron said she hoped the opposition would be a willing participant in the upcoming discussions. Attorney General Levi Peter told legislators on Thursday night that the budget makes allocations for EC $1.8 million to be spent on electoral matters this fiscal year. The Electoral Commission, opposition parties, and the Electoral Reform Group have been holding public discussions on electoral reform ahead of the next poll. You're watching Caribbean Newsline. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has made another appeal to Parliament to approve the nomination and government of the new Prime Minister Fritz William Michel. The former executive in the Ministry of Economy and Finance replaced Jean-Michel Lapin, who announced last month that he was stepping down in the interest of the country. Now, speaking on the sidelines of a graduation ceremony for new police commissioners on Thursday, Moïse said the country has been without a cabinet for more than 4 months, and as a result, Haiti is without a ratified government or a national budget voted upon by the parliament. He made a similar appeal to legislators last week, but legislators remain divided on his appointment, with some insisting that President Moïse should step down in the wake of allegations of embezzlement related to the Petrocarib oil initiative with Venezuela and call fresh elections. He has denied the accusations. Now, earlier this week, the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Gary Bourdieu, said a motion to indict Moïse for treason would be placed on the agenda ahead of the presentation of the general policy statement of Michel. But political observers say they don't expect the motion to find support in the lower house, given the majority position enjoyed by legislators linked to Moïse's party. And still to come, the Cayman Islands to enact a data protection law. Stay with us, more news after this.
When you think of what we went through with Hurricane Irma, you had to be able to recognize what are the things we need to do to cope with the aftermath. The psychological trauma, to me, is probably the most telling on a lot of people.
Preparedness is the key. So when people are prepared, when people have what their resources in terms of how they can cope with the disaster, they're better able to be able to return to their normal life. They're better able to make decisions that are informed for themselves and for their family, and then for their community. Be ready. Look, listen, and link.
The Cayman Islands data protection law will be in full force in 2 months' time. Now, the law will regulate the future processing of all personal data in the Cayman Islands, and the Ombudsman will have full responsibility to enforce the law to protect people's personal information. Now, the new law provides a framework of rights and duties designed to give individuals greater control over their personal data. We get more in this report from Cayman 27's Carolina Lopez.
Deputy Ombudsman Jan Liebars says his team is ready to take on the task of protecting people's personal information.
Establish the facts and draw conclusions and see if there was any violations of the law.
The data protection law was passed 2 years ago. And now, with regulations in hand for the end of September, if a company is found misusing personal data, they can be fined up to $250,000 or even face prison time. Mr. Liebars says a person can bring a complaint to the Ombudsman's office, or an on-motion investigation can be launched.
That could be a particular business or a particular organization, or it could be a whole industry. Then we actually have the power to go in and to investigate that as well. So there's also there's a reactive part to doing enforcement.
Mr. Liebars says everyone will need to pay close attention to the collection and use of personal data from now on.
You know, certain things need to remain private, that we all have public lives, we also have private lives, and so there's no discussion about how valid that principle is.
The Ombudsman's office says it is expecting a significant number of complaints once the law comes into full force.
Over in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and opposition leader Godwin Friday have noted the right of persons to challenge the laws that criminalize buggery in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The two leaders expressed their views separately this week following a court challenge by Vincentians Sean McLeish and Javin Johnson challenging the constitutionality of the laws. Now, speaking on radio on Sunday, Gonsalves said the essence of the legal challenge is that it is unconstitutional to outlaw anal sex among consenting adults in the privacy of their home. He noted that the buggery laws capture acts between same-sex or heterosexual couples.
Or a male buggering a female, it will be covered under the existing provisions, that those provisions are unconstitutional. That's the case which is now brought, that you should be allowed to do what you want in the privacy of your home once it's among consenting adults. People should have their day in court and the matter be ventilated and the court must pronounce. But clearly the gay and lesbian community have decided internationally and regionally, and I'm making this comment in an objective manner. I'm not making any comment other than objective. I'm not expressing a view. They've clearly decided to test the constitutionality of these laws.
He noted that the courts in Belize and Trinidad and Tobago have ruled that it is unconstitutional to prevent consenting adults from engaging in these activities in private. Meanwhile, Friday told a press conference on Tuesday the legal challenge is not surprising. He says the matter is before the court, so he will not get too much into it. Countries across the Caribbean celebrated Emancipation Day on Thursday with reflections on their progress since the abolition of slavery in 1838. In this report from ABS News in Antigua, we look at the island's journey from enslavement to freedom.
Such as feigning illnesses, committing suicide, and doing work at a slow pace. Other forms were economic, such as burning crops and damaging machinery. And when these methods failed, slaves would then turn to physically taking their freedom through revolts.
Omar explains the most popular form of active resistance here in Antigua, the 1736 rebellion led by Prince Class.
Africans in this country organized in such a way as to overthrow the bondage of enslavement at one level, and two, to actually take control, physical control of this country.
A century later, our ancestors refused to sit quietly. In 1831, just 3 years before emancipation, another revolt ensued.
The European establishment moved in 1831 to legally outlaw the Sunday markets. And that led clearly to an eruption among enslaved people. It led to those riots, and again.
Eventually, the riots were suppressed due to the European superior arms. However, 3 years later, our island was the first country in the Caribbean to become emancipated.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Andre Russell is out of the upcoming T20 International Series against India. Stay with us. Sport is next.
We know about hell in a cell. It's a rage in a cage. Gladiators them got words in the head, cause they done put pen to the page. And we now come sing with no violence, curse word when we done tend to the stage. So shout out the big man who put the whole thing together, put it down, elevate. Truth is, boy, I done been training. Touch stage and I done plating. Swag tough, gotta raise your gazing. Lyric clean like I just done bathing. Nothing normal, this a ab. Hit my opponents with a jab. Punchline from the first line. Got Scuddy throwing up his hands. Leon and Juba about to dance.
Now we're ready to show the world who we are. Shine a light so everyone could see our identity. See the way we do what we do. When we bring our cultures together, we make each other better. Carry Festa. Carry Festa. Carry Festa 14, Trinidad and Tobago.
So, let me get started on the list of ingredients you'll need for this recipe. You're going to need about 15 to 20 clams, about half of a cup of Parmesan cheese, half of a cup of chopped red bell pepper, half of a cup of chopped bacon. Make sure everything is finely chopped.
Injury has forced marquee all-rounder Andre Russell out of the three-match T20 International Series against India starting on Saturday. Now the 31-year-old informed selectors he would be unavailable for the series after experiencing discomfort in his troublesome left knee while at the ongoing Global T20 Canada. Russell was named in the original 14-member squad for the first and second T20 matches, subject to him passing a fitness assessment prior to the series. Now, he has been replaced by batsman Jason Mohammed, who last played a T20 International 16 months ago when he led a second-string side on a three-match tour of Pakistan. Now, West Indies are currently World T20 champions and will face India at the Broward County Stadium in the United States on Saturday and Sunday. The final match will be played at the Ghana National Stadium next Tuesday. First ball bowls off 10:30 a.m. Eastern Caribbean time. That's 9:30 Jamaica. Meantime, T20 captain Carlos Bradford says they will have the best team despite the absence of power hitter Andre Russell. The Barbadian believes that the current crop of players is the best team to play in the series and the T20 World Cup.
No, I think it's the best team at our disposal. Again, the way I look at it, you look forward to 2020, and if we play 15 players between now and every series leading up to 2020 and 2 or 3 of them get injured, then we have 3 new players or relatively new players in the squad. So every squad that we select is the best squad. Whether it's the best in terms of personnel is up for debate and is, I guess, shared opinion. But we have to look at it as it's the best leading up to the World Cup, putting the best pool of players together and spreading the net as wide as possible so that when we do select our final 15 for the World Cup, that we've run enough players through certain roles and that we're confident enough that they can perform whichever role is asked of them.
When asked about finding the right formula for success, the Barbadian believes there is no magic formula for the team to get to the top of their game.
I don't think it's the magic formula, to be fair. I think it's just, as I said, spending a lot more time together. A lot of the times we come and we shack up 2 days before and then we go out there and play. And the fact that we get so close in games in the past is just a testament to the talent, the hard work, and a lot of times the experience that the boys would have had playing a lot of franchise cricket, where that can be sometimes commonplace, getting together a week max before a franchise tournament. So I don't think there's a magic formula. You can always look back on it and say it's a negative that we're so low in the standings, and obviously for the people in the Caribbean we like to be higher. We like for them to be able to go to work and brag and talk about the national team doing the things that we should. But evidently if we have a very good 4 years and don't perform in the World Cup, that will still be seen as a down as well. So we can look at it as a positive, look at the amount of guys that have been exposed. Come World Cup time, if we win the World Cup, then I'm sure that they'll give the people in the Caribbean some bragging rights as well.
Staying with cricket now, Barbados easily disposed of Jamaica to remain unbeaten and on top of the standings, but Trinidad and Tobago suffered their first defeat at the hands of Windward Islands in round 3 of the CWI Under-19 Championships Thursday. Now playing at the Arnoldsville Stadium, Barbados overhauled a target of 133 to get home in the 28th over and win by 5 wickets, with Naeem Young anchoring the runs chase with an unbeaten 42 off 35 balls. TNT meanwhile failed in their pursuit of 204 and crashed to a 69-run defeat at Park Hill. Leonardo Francis and Mbeki Joseph gave TNT a decent start by putting on 39 for the first wicket, and then when 6 wickets tumbled for 39 runs, joint top scorers Rivaldo Ramlogan and Ronaldo Forrester added 33 for the 7th wicket. However, off-spinner Malaki Xavier snared 5 for 26 and fast bowler Tejon Pope 3 for 27 to wreck the lower order. At Cumberland, title holders Guyana overpowered Leeward Islands to win by 119 runs. Opener Sachin Singh top scored with 51 and Kelvon Anderson got 42 as Guyana got up to 176 all out in the 50th over after choosing to bat. Yuri Smith picked up 5 for 19 while Elroy Francis finished with 3 for 21. In reply, Anderson, Quagmar Torrington and Kumar Torrington grabbed 3 wickets apiece as Leeward folded meekly for 57 in the 20th over. Staying with cricket now, Guyanese big hitter Sherfane Rutherford has been snapped up by the Mumbai Indians following a transfer deal for the 2020 edition of the Indian Premier League. Newsroom Guyana's Akim Greem has the details.
Next year, the 20-year-old will wear a new blue, the blue of the Mumbai Indians. News broke today that he will be a part of a trade with Mayank Markande, who now heads the Delhi Capitals. Mumbai Indians owner Kash Ambani said, open quote, "I'm excited to welcome the talented Sherfane into our family. He has impressed us with his all-around skills and match-winning attitude. His exploits across the world at such an early stage of his career have been impressive, and we believe he finds his home at Mumbai Indians." End quote.
I must thank God for the opportunity, and it's a great feeling. I didn't see it coming. I was hoping that I'll go back to Delhi, but when God bless you, no one can change it. So I'm happy for the opportunity, and just look forward to it. Being picked for Mumbai is already a boost, and it would be a lot of confidence for me. A lot of great players, and a lot of players that can win games and players that I can learn from. So I think for me it will be a big boost, and given the opportunity there, I will always look to grab it with both hands.
In his first stint at IPL, he played 7 matches and scored 72 runs at a strike rate of 135. His most impactful innings would have been a crucial 28th not out, which sent Delhi Capitals to the playoffs since 2012. He only bowled 6.5 overs, but got the wicket of A.B. de Villiers.
My first year, I must say.
And stay with us. We have our entertainment segment. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Now we're ready to show the world who we are. Shine a light so everyone could see our identity. See the way we do what we do. When we bring our cultures together, we make each other better. Carry Festa. Carry Festa. Carry Festa 14, Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, guys, and look here. Now, I've started off with models. I started off with musicians. And now, guys, I have a designer with me, Mr. Enrique himself, right? Did I say it right?
Enrico.
Oh, I got to go back because I always mess up on it. Enrico.
Yeah, Enrique is Mexican.
It is Mexican. You're right. So where's Enrico from?
Italy. But I was born in Africa, raised in Paris.
Where were you born at in Africa?
Togo. Are we already doing this?
Well, no, my family is Gambian. So
I lived in Bonjour.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Barbados and Antigua prepare for a weekend of fetting, and Grenada's Prime Minister warns he will not tolerate indecent behavior during Spice Mass. Marie Claire Williams has the details in Newsline Entertainment.
It's Carnival weekend in Barbados and Antigua. Tonight in Bridgetown, Calypsonians will compete for the top prize in the Pick of the Crop finals, and it will be followed by the Juve or 4-day morning jump up early Saturday morning. Festivities will end with the Parade of Bands in Grand Kadooment on Monday. Miss Antigua and Barbuda was crowned winner of the 50th annual JC's Caribbean Queen Show. Miss Antigua Carnival, Shanna Keisha Francis, competed among 9 other beauties from the region, and she won the award for Best Performing Talent and Evening Wear. The first runner-up went to Alika Frederick of St. Lucia, while Brittany Smith of Trinidad and Tobago was second runner-up. Congratulations to all the participants. The pageant was part of the island's carnival, which climaxes on August 6. In Grenada, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has issued a stern warning that lewd and indecent behavior will not be tolerated in the island's carnival. Spice Mass ends on August 13 with the traditional street jump-up. Referring to images of indecency demonstrated at a recent regional carnival, Dr. Mitchell said he would not want to see that type of behavior on display on the streets of St. George's. Marie Claire Williams, Newsline Entertainment.
That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.